Hey guys, it's apparently St. Patty's Day, and apparently I'm creepy. Or something like that. Apparently. We don't have exact numbers on this. I am alive and feeling way better, which means I get to be much more sassy and charge you a lot more points when you make choices. Unlike last week where I felt like death. Camp T stuff, if I do not have a permission slip, I am reaching out to parents this week. So I will be contacting anyone who does not have one in, being like, hey, what's up? Is your kid going? Stuff like that. So we'll try to finish this. And then you do have your B points. This is your last time you got the 15 points. So some of you guys rocking it up to like 17, 18 points. And your third 9 weeks grade is posted over here. For a second. Solving a problem. And then, let's go with. If you are still wanting a shirt, if you bring an order form in tomorrow morning before first period, you should be good. I am turning them in second period tomorrow. Since I had kids ask me earlier, I figured I can try to help you out, but then after that, you'll just be out of luck. As far as fourth 9 weeks goes, we are starting fourth 9 weeks today, which means, as I pointed out, B points have now been updated with 15 more. Your fourth 9 weeks grade gets reset back to an A+ for me. It's not an A+ there. That's third 9 weeks grade. It'll be on Skyward. That's where it'll be your A+ until Friday when we have our first grade. Since I don't have any homework this week, your only thing we're going to have is going to be a quiz coming up on Friday over the stories from this week. I also have your new hall pass I'm getting ready to hand out.
I got 15. I got 17. I give all of mine away. I never have one. I give the envelope to you.
If you are in possession of the old hall passes, they are still good all the way to the end of the year. If you would like to cash them in for points, you may. You are more than welcome to. Each blank line does get you 3 points. If the entire thing is blank, it does get you a bonus points. You just have to put your name on it and then get it to me at the end of class and put it on the X on my desk. Or you can cash in the purple one in May, but you cannot do it until once we get to May.
In May is when school ends. Yay!
Well,
Actually, it's May 28th. Unless do like January. It's 28th.
just so you're aware, tardies do not reset. Those keep going all the way to the end of the year. So if you have gotten tardies, don't get super excited and then try to get more because they're going to keep torturing you. In June.
That's a good one, Mr. Brovic.
Camp Friends list is now locked. If you have a change you need to make, you can, but it does require you to write it on paper, and it does take 3 B points. But I've had kids, whether or not you and your BFF have a falling out and you need to change it, I understand. If you start a new 9 weeks class today and you make a brand new BFF, I understand that too. But any changes now is going to require it on paper and B points because I'm going through and making groups and stuff like that. So hopefully you're good to go from there. We are going to pick 3 new people to get B points before we get to today's story. Those of you who already went, Avery and Omar and Jaden, you're good to go, but we'll add 3 new people. Home children who are watching this, I'm going to pause this so that you don't have to listen to us babble, and then we'll be back to you in just a moment. 12 years old. Thanks, I was trying. So for today's stories, we've got a couple of different ones combined together. Going back to Humans version 1.0. Who made first race of humans?
The smart
There you go. What 2 ingredients did he use? Dirt and water, which then makes the mud. What happened to that first race of humans? So this is when we're now time for Humans 2.0. Zeus now decides that he wants to have a race of humans that he gets to work with and crush and smash and stuff like that. Yes? I'm so happy for you. So with that, Zeus comes back to Prometheus again and goes, hey, I would like to have a new race of humans that we can work on and create. Prometheus goes, no, you're out of luck. He goes, what do you mean I'm out of luck? I want new humans. That's what we're... Prometheus goes, I'm currently setting up Mount Olympus and your new government. I don't have time to create humans. I can do one or the other. You want me to make humans or set up the government? Zeus thinks about it and is like, government's probably more important, so fine. He goes ahead and lets Prometheus step away. He's like, well, if I can't use Prometheus to make this race of humans, let's get the next best thing. And he goes and talks to Epimetheus. Everyone knows younger sibling is just as good as older sibling. Yeah, good job. So he goes and... Hi, welcome back. Talks to Epimetheus and is like, hey, I need a new race of humans built. Will you help me out? And Epimetheus goes, absolutely, I'd be happy to. Zeus goes, well, Prometheus was actually able to help us out a little bit. And instead of using dirt and water, we have upgraded materials for humans 2.0. We have this stuff called Play-Doh. Technically it was magic clay, but we're going to call it Play-Doh. And we have this magic clay we're going to call Play-Doh. And you're going to get a chance to use this. Not only are you going to make humans, though, turns out you need to make all of the animals. Everything was killed off, so you're going to make animals, fishes, birds, all of those things out there using this magic clay. He goes, not only do you get to use the magic clay, but Prometheus has built another thing for you to use. And he gives him this giant tackle box and opens it up. It's like, chunk, 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 chunk. And in the tackle box, as opposed to being fishing stuff, was piles of claws and fangs and eyes that can see in the dark and fur. He goes, you can use this tackle box to then go through and create all of these different animals by putting special abilities into them. Hi, Brian. You want to use the bathroom? Yeah, points? Yeah, go for it. All right, you're just staring at me. Okay.
Brian, we have new pass.
I'm saving this for people now.
So he goes, all right, not a problem. He goes, you're going to get a chance to make all of these new things. But here's the issue. Humans cannot be messed up. Humans are critical because I'm going to introduce this thing called sacrificing that one of the gods came up with, and I need humans to be working perfectly for sacrificing. So humans are your priority. Epimetheus goes, I can do this. He goes, I am going to be a big boy. And Zeus goes, I'm proud of you. So Epimetheus pulls on his big boy breeches and puts on his big boy hat. And he says, what I'm going to do is instead of starting off with humans, where I might mess things up, I'm going to go through and make animals first. And so I'm really good at making things. Then I'm going to make humans because I know what I'm doing. He's like, ha-ha, Prometheus is not the only smart one. He's like, game on. So he reaches down and grabs some of his magic Play-Doh. And he's like, let's begin. Rolls out a string, which is what everyone starts with when you play with Play-Doh. And then he takes some of the big teeth out. And he's like, ooh, big teeth. And he crams those in there. And he pulls out like some of the scales and he wipes those on there and creates the first danger noodle. And he's like, ooh, danger noodle. And he throws it down to earth and makes a couple more little danger noodles. And he's like, ooh, I'm getting pretty good at this. He's like, all right, time to expand. Let's go to the next one. Ooh, so he does another one, creates another long noodle, and this time puts scales on it again, puts the teeth in, and blah, before throwing it down, he goes, what would legs look like on one of these things? Let's give it a try. And he puts some legs on there, creates this lizard, and he's like, ooh, it's like a walking snake, even better. And he creates a whole bunch of different varieties of those and throws them down. And he's like, all right, time to expand. Let's make some animals now. And he's like, but I really like that snake idea, so let's stick with the snake idea. And he makes another snake, but this one he makes yellow and makes it like a fatty snake and then sticks it onto an animal. And he goes like, ooh, it's like a snake connected to a bobber. Ooh, put some big, long legs on top of this little thing. Nicely done. And then creates his little giraffe. And he's like, good job, giraffe. And he's like, kind of ugly looking. Don't be judgy. And then throws the giraffe down there. makes a whole bunch of different animals. And he's like, ooh, I have an idea for another one. Takes another snake. This time he goes like a gray snake and puts it onto this giant balloon, gives it some big wings on its head. Nicely done. Throws it down to earth, and the little wings catch it and it flies down there.
He said wing.
Yeah, wings on the head. Yeah. Head wings. He gets having so much fun. He starts getting down to the very end of all the special abilities he's coming up with. He starts scraping the bottom and just putting random things together on animals to see what he can come up with. At one point, he has like a dog body and he has duck feet, and he was like, oh, let's see what happens on there. And he's like, puts a little like flat tail on there. He stepped on at one point, and he was like, I stepped on that tail. It's kind of flat, but it looks all right. And then sticks a little duck head on it and makes, and then looks at it and was like, holy cow. Makes a little platypus, and it's like, that thing's kind of embarrassing. So he sticks it down in Australia, figures no one can see it, and then realizes he made a mistake. His mistake is he forgot to make people, and he freaks out. He's like, oh my God, Zeus is going to kill me. Okay. Quickly, he makes out his little humans, like squishy human shape. He's like, all right, I got this. He's like, fur. All right, I'm going to give these things some fur so they're really warm in the wintertime. So he goes to a little fur section, and he looks at the fur is empty. Oh, there's some on the ground. And he picks up some ground fur, and it's like, it's not very much. I can just put it on top of their head. Good enough. He's like, I'll give them some claws. They can be like all like rare and scared. But the claw one's almost empty. The only thing left is like claw dust. He's like, well, I'll just smear it on the end of the fingers. They look kind of like claw. They can go get a manicure. He does the same thing with teeth, same thing with eyes. Humans get all of these leftover bits. We don't have good teeth, eyes, nose, hearing. But there's one thing left over that Epimetheus wasn't really using much for all of the animals.
So much brain.
And that's where humans end up getting a lot of brains, because that was the thing he had left over. And he was like, well, I can give him a lot of this at least, and squishes a lot of brain into him. So humans end up getting more brains than all the other animals. So at this point, he says, done. And Zeus is excited and brings all the humans together. And he's going to introduce to them how sacrificing goes. But before we do that, I have to give you a quick explanation about sacrifices. For this, they had sacrificing in Greek mythology, but you don't sacrifice people. People would sacrifice to the gods. And you would only sacrifice food up to the gods. And you would simply pray over it. Now, the gods liked sacrificing. It was important to them. They didn't like coming down and doing nice things for you, but it's the role that sacrificing had. For the gods, this was their form of social media. It was all about how many followers and how many likes you could have. You could brag to the other gods. So the gods would come down, and it was thought, would give you guys, or give humans, favors and do things for you in exchange for you sacrificing up to the gods. And that way, the gods' sort of favor would rise with each other, and they could brag to their friends. For humans, the way it would work, imagine that you have a crush on Joey Jojo, and you think Joey Jojo is the most adorable thing ever. And you're like, I want that Joey Jojo to love me forever. So you take your bowl of honeycomb, and you go, oh wait, who am I going to pray to? Aphrodite, make Joey Jojo fall in love with me. And you shake your bowl and go, shaka, shaka, shaka. And then you take your bowl of honeycomb, and you would put it outside your back door on your back porch, and then shut the door, and you cross your fingers and go, please, Aphrodite, make Joey Jojo fall in love with me. And you would go out and check the next morning, so like it's Christmas morning. And if your bowl of honeycomb was empty, well, that means Joey Jojo better watch out because you're coming. But if that bowl was still full, Joey Jojo's safe because apparently you're an uggo. So this is where you're waiting to find out what's going to happen. Well, are these gods real? No. Did they know that? So then how come sometimes when they went out back, the bowl of food would be empty?
Someone stole it.
Now, animals would come and eat the food. But the Greeks knew the animals came to eat the food, and that still made sense to them. Why? The gods could shapeshift into animals. They fully believe that if you're praying to Aphrodite, she is not going to show up in your back porch as like a beautiful woman in a toga and then go and sit there and eat your honeycomb and be like, rah, 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 and like look up at you, because that'd be awkward. So instead, she's going to take the form of a raccoon, and the raccoon is going to scamper out there. And if you open up your back door and go, no raccoon, that's for Aphrodite, and you punt the raccoon, that'd be bad. Because you're not punting a raccoon, you're punting. So that was sort of how their idea of sacrificing would work. Well, Zeus saw an issue with this because he realized some of these gods were going to get a lot of sacrificing. And he had to make sure he stayed the number one top god. So he comes up with a loophole and he goes, all right, humans, anytime that you want to sacrifice to a god, you can sacrifice to them. But you also have to do a small sacrifice to the king of all the gods. So if you're going to sacrifice for love, you would sacrifice to, and then a small one too. If you don't want to drown when you go swimming, and also if you're getting ready to get married, you sacrifice to, and then also. And so that way Zeus made sure he was constantly getting sacrifices as a small little one to the king of the gods. So for that, sacrifices for them was to see who the most popular one was. And they were very vain, and the gods very much cared about who had the most sacrifices going to them. Which brings up, who was the most popular god? Zeus. Because his excuse was, listen, I'm the king of the gods because I get the most sacrifices. And they go, you only get the most sacrifices because you're king of the gods. He would say, listen, I don't make the rules. It's just the way it worked out. And when they replied, you do make the rules. He's like, oh yeah, how about that? Which brings in who would be the second most popular god? Oh. It actually rotated. You're all right. It would depend on what was going on. If we were in the middle of a war, who would shoot to the top? And so it would rotate from time to time. And then if it's October and we need to make sure we have food, and so that was how it would rotate. Even though the other gods would get a chance to rotate, Zeus always managed to make sure he stayed at the top. So at this point, we now have the idea of how sacrifices work. Now that humans get created, Zeus calls humans together and calls together like the first little tribe and goes, humans, we need to talk about sacrifices. And he explains all the bits that go into it. And the humans go, okay, we get it. We get to give you guys stuff, and then you guys do favors for us. He goes, yes, but there's one more thing. Anytime a human goes out hunting and you kill an animal, you have to give half of that animal to the gods as a payment to us. And the humans say, okay, which half of the god do we give to? Or which half of the animal do we give to you? And he goes, well, that's what we're going to discuss. So he brings in a cow and sets it down. He goes, all right, see this cow? And the humans go, uh-huh. He goes, I want you to split this cow into 2 piles. However you want to split it up. And then I'm going to come back into the room and I get to choose which pile the gods keep and which pile the humans keep whenever you kill an animal. And the humans go, okay, we can agree to that. He's like, all right, good luck. I'll be back in a little bit. Zeus takes off. So the humans are looking at the cow and they go, all right, let's separate this cow into the main cow parts. The first thing they do is grab all the cow fur and go, and they rip off all the cow fur. They make a giant pile of leather coats and they throw those over to the side. After all the leather coats, what's going to be the next part? All of the delicious hamburgers and steaks. They pull all the hamburgers and steaks and throw those over into another pile. Then what's the big part left over? All of the skeletons. But it turns out that there is something between skeleton and the yummy meaty bits. And this is where you get the fats and organs and stuff like that. If you're unaware, well, one, I didn't want to show you a pile of organs. I thought that might be disgusting, so I'm going to show you a pile of rainbows because I figure rainbows are prettier than a pile of disgusting organs. Plus, it turns out, if you are not aware, much of your organs, when you look at them, they do look kind of rainbowy. The reason being, I don't know how often you guys help your parents either like grill or cook out, but steak, chicken, fats, like the little slap, jiggle, 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 jiggle across you, if you are able to just pull out your chunk of fat, it is covered in oil. Fat has oil in it. Have you guys ever seen oil on the road, like when it drips out of a car? Yeah. What does it look like on the road? Rainbow. This is the same stuff that's inside of you. Technically, you guys are like leprechauns, and you have little rainbows inside of you. And you can get it. I don't recommend you go home and be like, Mommy, watch! And then rip it out and be like, rainbow! And that might not go well. But in theory, when you're getting eaten by a cannibal, they'll go like, oh, rainbows, and throw it off to the side. So rainbows are inside of you. So with these 4 sections, if you were a smart human, which would be a part you want to make sure you keep?
Meat.
Because it's yummy and delicious. Any other parts?
The leather. But it's like.
Why?
Because I can wear the clothes.
There you go. So you have your leather coats and stuff over here.
It's like the eye cut you choose.
Nicely done. That's where they got the idea from. Now, the problem is, who made this race of humans? So they're not real smart. The humans see the 4 piles, and they're thinking about it, and one of them goes, hey, look at this big cow bone. You can like,
So we're
thwack, and they just turn around like hit, and like all of a sudden Billy falls over, and like, look at Billy twitch. Oh, smacky sticks. And they get all excited. And then another one looks down and goes, is that rainbow goo?
He gonna put on some.
Splat! And they throw rainbow goo at each other, and they start giggling, and the humans are like, this is the best stuff in the world. And then another one goes, wait a minute. And they take the stick, and they go, squirt, 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 squirt. Rainbow stick! And they get even more excited, and the humans are like, this was the best deal ever. We're going to get a whole bunch of piles of rainbow sticks, and they put all this other stuff into the other pile, and they go, look, rainbow sticks and this other disgusting stuff over here. And the humans are like, all we got to do is figure out how to make sure that we can keep the rainbow sticks. Well, as soon as the humans make this choice, another god can go, no, 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 no. Oh my God, they're idiots. And look into the future and see this is not going to go well. And that would be Prometheus. Prometheus sees what humans are doing, and he was like, oh my God, these guys are idiots. Who made the... Oh, never mind, Epimetheus. So he comes down to confront the humans. He's like, hey, buddies, what you doing? They're like, ooh, we're making piles of rainbow sticks and all this other disgusting stuff because we're setting up sacrifices. And Prometheus goes, well, which ones are you going to try and keep? And they go, rainbow sticks. He goes, you're idiots. And they go, we are. Why? And he explains to them, you want to have the leather coats because someday we're going to invent these things called women. And once we invite women, you want leather coats so that you look really cool to impress them. And the humans go, oh. And he goes, plus, once you've impressed the woman, you're going to want to take her out on a date. And you're going to want to have a hamburger when you go out on the date. And the humans go, oh. So he goes, because of that, women are why you're going to want to have the coats and the meat. And the guys go, but hitting each other in the head with sticks. He goes, I know that's fun for now, but think long term. They go, okay, fine. He goes, but here's the problem. Zeus is a jerk. And he knows if you want rainbow sticks, he is going to take them from you. So here's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to try and trick him. So he puts all the rainbow sticks into like a giant pile of rainbow sticky stuff. And then he takes all of the fur coats, the leather jackets, and the meat, and throws them over in another pile. It's like, all right, this looks like a cow stepped on a landmine. He's like, it's just a disgusting pile of smush thrown over to one side. He goes, now, when Zeus shows up, he is going to see the pretty pile, and that's what he is going to want. And the humans go, it does look pretty. He goes, you guys are still idiots. He goes, but this looks disgusting. And because it looks disgusting, Zeus is going to want nothing to do with it. You're going to get a chance to keep it. And the humans go, oh, well, that makes sense. He goes, exactly. Zeus shows up, walks in, is like, all right, guys, you ready? And the humans go, we're ready. He goes, are those rainbow sticks? The humans go, those are rainbow sticks. He goes, those are beautiful. Did you stick a hand grenade in a cow? He's like, that is disgusting. And the humans go, that does look pretty bad. Zeus goes, done. I've made my decision. This is disgusting to look at, like you guys. So this is what you're going to keep during sacrifices. This is beautiful, like the gods. So anytime you kill an animal, this is going to be official. This part goes to the gods, it's pretty like us. This goes to the humans, it's ugly like you. Let's make it official and lock it in, shake on it. And the humans go, okay. And he puts out his hand, and the humans go, shaky, shaky, shaky. And the humans pick up all their piles of leather coats and hamburgers and go running off down the hill. And Zeus is like, I can't wait to show this stuff off to the other gods. It's so cool. And he picks it all up, and it falls apart in his hands and slimes all down in front of him. And he gets so angry, he decides he's going to have to wait till tomorrow to figure out what happens.